Welcome to the Health and Happiness Show. As you know, I, Janet Hawkins, will be your host this evening. So, as you know, I'm a doctor of naturopath, and what we try to do is get to the root cause of your condition. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you've not been feeling well for like a month, or the energy is low, things of that sort. So our goal is to get to the root cause of what is causing your problems with your health. But unfortunately, it's the springtime, so welcome spring, here we are. And you know what this means when it's springtime. It's refresh and renew. So what we need to do is we need to take time to evaluate our health, because we're going into the healthy spring. So I have some tips for you that I would like to share with you about going into the springtime and the things that we need to do. So what we need to do is we need to look at our habits. May it be our diet, may it be watching the TV too much or sitting on the couch too much, things of that sort. There are 5 things to keep your body really healthy. And you've heard me say this over and over and over again, so I'm going to share it with you again. Number 1 is nutrition. That is the food that we are eating. Being a doctor naturopath, what I have learned in my studies is our disease today is coming from standard American diet and toxins. Unfortunately, we are always exposed to toxins morning, noon, and night. It could be our food, it could be our water, and it could be our air. It's constantly survival in this world today. So we have to be your CEO to decide what choices we're going to do. So the nutrition is just, I can't say how important it is. It's very, very important. We have to feed the cellular level. And many times we take better care of our car. And people come to see me after they're struggling to get down the road. So we need to take care of this temple that God has given us and feed it properly. Give it fresh air. Get out there and move. So the next one is exercise after your nutrition. And then after that is we need to de-stress. And then we need to get sufficient sleep for the body to refresh and rejuvenate. And then we need our attitude, which is so important as well. So this is springtime, and I always say refresh and renew. So this is a time to do a cleanse. So next month I'll be going into more detail into the cleansing process. There's many different things we can do. We maybe do a juice fast, maybe give up like sugar, detox with the sugar, caffeine, things of that sort. But I personally like to, I do the celery juice at least twice a week, and that goes in and helps your body, cleans the digestive tract, and it's going to help you be more alkaline internally. Because when we are too acidic internally, that is when disease begins as well. So back to the cleansing, we have different ones. Now, I just came back from the Mount Hope Home and Garden Show, which was fantastic. I love the energy there, and this year it was really amazing. I would say 90% of the people attending were old order Amish. The horse and buggies was unbelievable outside, and I love the energy there. It is so quiet, so peaceful, and I didn't see one child with on a cell phone or any technology at all. They're used to playing outdoors. So I'm just saying it was a great show. There were all types of different things there, from Maslin Appliance, from people selling fences, outdoor furniture, things of that sort, and solar as well, panels. So the one thing that we sold out of, because whenever I do a show, I always do the iridology, and that's where I go in and look at your irises. And I try to keep it simple whenever we are doing a show. And it was amazing. Environmental Detox is the one that I sold out of. This is a detox supplement, and it has burdock in it, which is going to go in and clean your blood. It also has echinacea, which will help your white blood cells. It also has milk thistle, which is going to go in and clean the liver. It has some dandelion, it has some yellow dock, and it has some probiotics in it as well. and also it has red clover. So that's going to go in and clean. And then also it has marshmallow. So marshmallow is going to be very good if you have any internal inflammation. It's going to be very calming. And so what you do is you take 2 of these in the morning and then 1 in the evening as well. And as I've told you before, this is springtime. It's time to clean. We have new growth and we need to clean things up. So every season change, may it be spring, summer, fall, and winter, we need to do a cleanse because it's continuously that we are exposed to the toxins morning, noon, and night. So, I mean, it's a good idea to have an air filter, of course, and then a filter for your water. I don't expect everybody to have things that I do because I'm, let's say, on the, so let's say you have a ladder. I'm like at the top one trying to do things to keep my health at the best I can keep it. Like I have the Kangen water machine. I do have a well, my own water. I don't have city water, but I still don't trust that because of all the industry around me as well. I just don't know what's in my water. So that's why I invested in that. And the Kangen water machine goes in and I can control if it's 8, 8.5, 9.5. That's what I can, gauge the strength of the water that's coming out, the pH. And when clients come in for a consult, I provide them with the Kangen water with the chlorophyll as well. So I'm just sharing to you, there are options. You can get a different filter. There's different prices. You don't have to get the highest one. And I also have the Green Tech air purifier, and I sell those as well. So I know I had gotten involved with the air purifiers last year whenever we had a lot of the problems with the quality of the air, and my eyes were burning and my throat was sore, and I said, no, we've got to change this. So, and honestly, it goes in and kills a virus as well, and honestly, knock on wood, I have not been sick at all. So I feel as though it's an amount of quality of food and the air and exercise. All of these work together. So anyway, when I was down to Mount Hope, the environmental detox, I sold out of this one. So we'll check you on that in a little bit, Cindy. Okay? And the next one, this is the one that I usually use, and this is the one I'm doing right now. This is the Thai Heat Cleanse. And I feel as though it's more systemic. And it has a formula for your liver, because your liver does all the filtering whenever we are exposed to toxins. So many times when I see people, their liver is congested like a sponge, so we need to go in and clean it up. So, and I'm not alone because I'm exposed, I'm out and about, you never know what you're exposed to. So anyway, it has the liver formula. It also has black walnut in case there's any parasites. It also has burdock in it to clean the blood. And then there's a formula LBS2 for long, brown, and smooth. Remember, we have 4 elimination systems. We have the colon, we have the urinary, we have the skin, and we have the lungs. So remember, you need to take your weight, divide it in half. Say you weigh 200 pounds, you need to cut it in half. That's 100. That's how many ounces of water you're to drink a day, quality water. Because when people come in and saying, their joints are kind of stiff and things like that, and flexibility is not good, we need to exercise. So omega-3s, drink more water, and try to change the internal environment is what we're trying to do. But with the Thai Heat Cleanse, there's 30 packets in the box, and you take one like in the evening or before you go to bed, and you'll get results in 10 to 12 hours. The results are you're going to have a bowel movement. So say if you're a mail carrier, UPS driver, things of that sort, or a teacher, you want to gauge it to your schedule. Say if you have to be to work at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you would take it by 6 o'clock at night because we don't want any little surprises as you're on the job. So that's the Thai Heat Cleanse, and then what we do is we muscle test you to see what is best for you. And then we always have the one that we always can add to our water. Cindy, would you like some chlorophyll in your water? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to do that, and you just add that in there. Okay? Okay, thanks. And then that's going to go in. The chlorophyll comes in a liquid form, and we also have it in a packet now. And I know my UPS guy, Ryan, he's my best UPS driver. He's really, and Troy, they were really good. I gave him a packet of the chlorophyll. It's a dry packet, and you can add this into your water, say like he's on the road, and it's hard for him to carry it in the liquid. So you can add this to your bottled water and drink it throughout the day. And especially if you're in sports, maybe you're in baseball now, or maybe in track, things of that sort, you can send this along with your son, daughter, and they can put that in their water and drink it while they're doing their activities. So I got a thumbs up from Ryan today. He said, I loved it. So, you know, I haven't tried it yet, so I gave you a pack so we can get the feedback on it. And it's just great for traveling, like, you know, I know in August I'll be going out to Las Vegas again to get my, renew my certification, and to the conference to see what's new in the holistic world as well, and studying with doctors for 3 or 4 days. So I'll be taking this along as well when you're traveling, vacations coming up, camping, things of that sort. So you've got to remember to be your CEO. Those are my 3 ones that I like. We do have the Clean Start here. This one's a little more intense. This you have a package, and you it's a powder. It has some chlorophyll, some aloe vera, and some bentonite, and you put that into your water, shake it up, and you drink that, and then you follow it with a packet of supplements as well. And you do that morning and night. And so there's like 28 capsules, and in the packets there's LBS2, long brown and smooth, and 1 environmental detox as well. And then in the other packet, like I said, it has the chlorophyll. It's going to go in and detox as well, and it has bentonite in it. So these are really a little more intense, but it's pretty good too. So you just mix it up and drink it as well. But it has a little bit of psyllium hulls in it, so you got to drink it right away because it's going to get thick like ketchup, and you're not going to like that. So anyway, so Cindy Petitti is going to be here today to share with us from the organic greenhouse. Thank you, Cindy, again.
Thanks for having me.
We always have her come every spring because, you know what? As I just said, our disease today is coming from standard American diet and toxins. So she's the organic guru, and she can walk us right through this. And so we're going to muscle test her for the cleanse, and we'll see which one she needs.
Okay.
So all you have to do is hold it up to your chest, and then I'll move over here, okay? Making sure it touches your body, and then 1 arm out straight. Okay, put it over this way. Okay, up real strong. When I say keep your mouth closed, hold your arm up real strong, mouth closed, ready, resist. We don't need that when the arm goes down. So when I talk about muscle testing, everything has an energy rate. So we have to decide which one is best for her. Up real strong, mouth closed, ready, resist. Kind of, but not really. Let's check this one out. Okay. Up real strong. Maybe she's the organic lady and she's not toxic. Up real strong, mouth closed, ready, resist. That's the one.
This is the one.
Did you feel the difference?
Okay.
How strong it was?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did.
it didn't even move.
Didn't
so this
even
is
move.
the one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there we go. There's
All
a
right.
packet for you.
Okay.
And then you can have one of these as well.
I'll take one of these.
Happy cleansing, okay?
Thank you.
So you've got to, I just like to demonstrate whenever I have a client here on whenever I can see somebody that maybe has a lot of stress. I can say maybe we need Stress J, maybe we need chamomile, maybe we need Nutricom. We have to narrow it down, and we'll muscle test you to see what you need, because everything has an energy rate, and you're going to tell me. So when that arm stays up real strong, that means you need it. When it goes down, you don't. So, and then you can even do it to yourself, which it's a challenge for me, but I still do it. If you hold it up in front and you stand up, and if you lean forward, you need it. If you lean back, you don't. So you can even do that when you're grocery shopping.
Oh,
but
right.
don't forget the Yucca app. Remember we talked about
exactly.
that?
Yes.
Yeah, the
I
Yucca
put it on
app
my
is
phone.
awesome. Yeah, because you can zap the barcode, and it's going to tell you excellent, good, poor, bad. So you've got to be the CEO. And so here we're going to go. Cindy's going to get us started on our gardening, because spring is here. Hello, we're ready to get busy.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. So this is the time that we want to start our seeds, and some of them, it's already a little too late. So we're going to want to buy those ones at our local independent garden center, things like your hot peppers. Those things, it's even starting to get a little bit too late for those right now. But your other things, we like to start our seeds in a little teeny plug tray. you have faster germination, and
Okay.
you're going to have a faster rooting, which is very, very beneficial when you're getting ready to move things outside early. For instance, beets. Beets can go outside very early because they can handle the cold temperatures. But so we want them to root in very quickly. So we're going to put our soil, our seed starting soil, in our little plug trays, add our seeds in, and then just put a little bit of soil over the top, and then it's all about heat. So we want nice, good heat. I use, we have a germination room.
Right. I have the little pads.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but if you have heating pads that you can set your little plug tray on, things are going to germinate very quickly. And once you have a nice full root system, unlike your beets, even broccoli, anything in the lettuce family, all of those things can go outside relatively early in April because they can handle the frost. Now, you're not going to want to put your tomato out there until May.
Right.
But like your lettuce, right, that we were talking about earlier.
Right, yeah, because I normally plant it in March, so
Right.
I haven't done it yet because I've been extremely busy, but I plan to do it the next day the sun comes out.
Right, and so
which is
the thing
hopefully
is,
soon.
with your lettuce too, you can have a flat like this that has no holes in the bottom, unlike this flat that has holes in the bottom. You can put your soil in here and just sow your lettuce right in there.
Oh, that's a good idea because I always have a big pot out on my deck.
And you can just leave it there,
That's a good idea.
And
I may
then-
do that.
and it'll grow fine in a flat, and then you can start harvesting. You can also do that year-round with microgreens.
Right, I tried that.
Yeah. So and it is a thing where you need some really good light. But
Yes.
if you have great light, you can grow. I mean, we have good light. We have a greenhouse.
Right.
But so we grow microgreens year-round.
Right.
But we grow lettuce year-round too in the greenhouse.
Yes.
For the farmers market. But once you have your tomatoes, for instance, or your peppers all started, once this is rooted in, then you'll up it into a flat or into a pot.
Okay, because I tried to plant seeds in this, and that's why it didn't work because you need to use
Right,
these
this
little
is
things.
just a little too big.
Right. Okay.
And now for certain things, that's why I brought this packet. These are cucumbers.
Okay.
Cucumbers do perfectly fine in a cell pack this big.
Okay.
Because the seed's bigger.
Okay.
So like your squashes, any of your pumpkins, they can go right into the cell pack. You don't need to use the little plug tray.
Okay.
But like with your tomatoes and your peppers, your broccoli, all of these seeds are very, very little. So they really will germinate so much more quickly for you in the plug tray.
Okay, so when you use the plug tray, how long do you leave those in there? I mean, how do you?
So once you have, like for tomatoes, once you have 2 true leaves, you know those first leaves you get, they don't look like a tomato leaf.
Right.
So those aren't called true leaves. The first set of leaves that you get that look like a tomato leaf,
Okay.
those are true leaves. Then flip this over. I usually just take a pencil and pop this and pull it out. If you have good root system going this way,
Okay.
it's ready. If
Okay.
not, you just slide it back in and leave it in here a little
Nice,
longer.
that's very
it
good.
works out very
That's
nicely.
very good.
Now the trick is also, once you have germination, you don't need that heat on the bottom any longer.
Okay.
You need good light, and you want it to be cooler so that they harden off and they get stronger. So once you have germination throughout your little plug tray, then you take it to a well-lit spot. This is a good time to put it in the west window
Okay.
because you're going to get really good light, and it's still warm in that window,
Right.
but it cools off.
Okay.
So, and it's also good that on a nice sunny day, like 60, 70 degrees, you open the window some
Oh, yeah.
and let that cool breeze in.
Yeah.
That will also harden off your stem, and you won't have damping off.
Okay. Well, let's maybe you want to go through that again. Maybe they're taking notes.
So
The
we're going
ones
to
that
put
we
the
can
soil in here, then we're going to add our seed, and then we're going to put a little bit more of the seed starting mix over that.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, just to cover the seed.
Okay.
No, not even in a measurable amount.
Right.
Just enough. Then you're going to water it in very slightly.
Good.
And then you're going to put it on your heat mat, or in a room that you keep at 80 degrees.
Okay.
So not a lot of people have a room that they keep at 80 degrees 24/7.
No.
Unless you own a greenhouse, then you do.
Right.
But so you put it on a heating pad and it will work perfectly. An old heating pad set on the lowest temperature, put a cookie sheet down, and then this can go right on top of it.
Nice. Very good.
And then once you have a good root system, you will be able to pull it out, move it up. You could even go from right here into like a 4-inch pot. You could go up that much, but don't go any more than that. Let it grow into that and then move it into your larger container if you're planting in containers, or from that 4-inch pot, you can move it into the ground.
Now, do you carry these at the organic greenhouse? Your greenhouse?
We do. We carry these at Anthony Petitti Organic Greenhouse. We don't carry them this little. So the plug tray itself is this size.
So you have to
And it has 288 little holes in it, like this.
Okay.
But they break so easily. So you can break them up to fit how many? Like if you only wanted to do 12 of something, you can pop this in two and only do 12 tomatoes.
I like the fact that you said you can use a little pencil to push it out, and then you'll see the root system is sufficient. Then you can add it there.
You add it right in there.
Because
Right.
I've tried it here and I didn't have much success.
Exactly.
That's
But
it.
so when you want to start directly in the flat, that's when you're going to do your larger seeds.
Right.
Your cucumbers, your zucchini, any of your squashes, any of your pumpkins, those kind of things, you'll put directly in here.
Now,
And
excuse me, do you suggest that these be organic, non-GMO seeds, or does it really matter in your opinion?
I like organic seeds. There are times you love some vegetable and you cannot find it.
Okay.
Then, you could go with a non-organic seed, but you're treating it organically.
Okay.
So then you're usually fine.
Okay.
Most all vegetables today are still non-GMO.
Okay.
There's a variety of tomato and there's a variety of zucchini, not readily available on in-seed packets. So most of the time, they're not going to be a GMO seed anyhow.
But the ones who with corn are 99% GMOs.
Right.
So that you need to make sure.
Exactly. And even sweet corn today.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Sweet corn, and a lot of people thought it was just like what we call field corn, but no. Sweet corn has also been GMO'd.
Right,
and so it's very important that one is non-GMO and organic.
Right, because I know when I go shopping at Fresh Thyme, they will have corn up for sale and say non-GMO.
Right.
I'm very impressed that they do say that.
Exactly.
Because I know when I'm out and about, may it be the flea market or roadside stand, I will ask them if it's non-GMO, and they give you that blank look.
Like they don't know.
They don't know. Understand.
Right. The nice thing is, if you know a lot about corn, you can ask them what variety they're growing.
Oh, okay.
So if they tell you they're growing ambrosia or bodacious, you're like, okay, I can buy your corn, because ambrosia and bodacious are not GMO'd.
Oh, okay.
They're still old.
Well, see, the average person wouldn't know that, so we're going to have to write that down.
Right.
Okay.
But there's a couple varieties out there.
Okay, all right. That's really, we're trying to educate you to be responsible for your health. And Cindy is so full of knowledge, and that's why I have you come every year.
Thank you so much.
Because
Thank you.
we need to educate, because it's getting more intense with the toxins that we're exposed to.
It's incredible.
It is.
It is absolutely incredible.
Unfortunately, it's corporate greed, because we will use the corn syrup. It's cheap to put into the food to sweeten it up.
And they sneak it in everything.
Yes.
You can buy things that you would never think of even being sweet, but it's in there. Your ketchup. Most ketchup has high fructose corn syrup in it.
It's so hard to find a good quality ketchup. Wait on your Yucca app when you use it. I did find one at Giant Eagle that passed, and then another one is mayonnaise. Those are the two hard ones to really find, because they usually have soybean oil in it as well.
Right, exactly. I know. I buy an organic one through Frankfurt Farms, a co-op that I belong to.
Okay.
Because it's
a nightmare to find.
It is a nightmare, and I'm a mayonnaise person.
Right.
And it is
So
a
am I.
nightmare
Yeah.
to find it.
Yeah.
So then when you're transplanting from the plug tray into your pot or into your cell flats, no fertilization. Okay, we don't need to fertilize yet. We're not going to fertilize until we put them in the ground or in the container that we're going to leave them in. And at that time, we like Biotone Starter. It's an organic starter fertilizer.
Okay.
It helps them root in well, and it will help that root system take off well. And so that's what we recommend. We have this in like 4 different size bags. And so that's when you're going to do your fertilization, when you put it into your container or into the ground.
So what do you think of raised beds?
I love raised beds.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be the same. So when you're transplanting, you're not going to transplant from this into a raised bed. You're going to transplant
go into this,
into
correct.
this or a 4-inch pot even,
Right.
but no bigger. But then you could transplant from this or your 4-inch pot into your raised beds,
Okay.
and then you would do your fertilization at that time.
Okay.
Now there's also direct sow, and a lot of people anymore doesn't like to direct sow. Direct sow vegetables is corn, green beans, peas. We used to all direct sow our zucchini and our pumpkins. We direct sow means it goes from the seed directly into the ground or directly into your raised beds.
Okay.
People are having more and more problems with direct sow because of little gophers or moles or
Yes.
chipmunks,
Yes.
because
Yes.
they're hungry
Yes.
and they dig down in and they eat your seed. So we start all of these things in flats at our store. So you can come in and buy a pumpkin plant, a zucchini plant,
Right.
and you don't have to do direct sow. We also, even in the last 4 or 5 years, started doing corn and green beans in a flat because people were having such a hard time
Right.
getting their corn and beans to germinate in the ground.
Okay.
So we do that so to ease that stress of not being able to get those to germinate. But you can do it either way. A lot of people say, they can start their own seeds in a flat, their pumpkins and their zucchini and their squash and their cucumbers,
Right.
and then go into the ground. You just have to it takes up a lot of space.
Yes.
So if you're starting all of those items in your garden, it really does take up a lot of room in your house if you have to start them all inside.
Correct.
And you can't do direct sow. So like you have to give up your dining room table for 2 months.
Right.
Or have a spare bedroom that you can sort of give up. And it also determines is how much light it has. Or your whole sunroom, something like that. But that will really help you be able to get that jump start if you do start things inside. And remember, things that you're starting inside right now, they need to be things that are going to need to wait to go outside into May, or
Yes.
they can stand a frost that you
Right.
can put out in April.
Right.
So, like this is still in March when we're recording, it's still too early for your tomatoes. But when
Absolutely.
you're viewing this in April, this is when you want to get your tomatoes started.
Right.
That's the starting point there. And early April to mid-April is a good time, depending on when you want to harvest. Now, we start tomatoes very early. So if you want to be the person in your neighborhood that has
And
the
the first
bragging
tomato.
rights,
Right,
that has
right.
the first tomato,
Yeah.
you can come over to the greenhouse in May, get a tomato plant in a 2-gallon pot that has flowers and maybe a few little tomatoes on it already. You can put it right outside. Let all of your neighbors think you are a genius and got the best green thumb in the world, and then you're okay.
But and don't you sometimes have the big tomato plants that you can buy already and put them right in?
We do.
Like for Mother's Day coming up?
Exactly. We do have, and we have them planted in containers
Yes.
with a trellis already with them. They make a great gift.
Yes.
But then, especially like cherry tomatoes that you might want up on the deck, right next to you where you're sitting.
That's what I always, but I didn't have much luck with my cherry tomatoes last year.
Oh, really?
I don't, and they're on the deck, so there's a lot of sun.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, it was the first year I didn't have many. But then the squirrels would get in there too at times.
The
Yeah.
squirrels might, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, you need good pollination. So watch
Okay.
for, you want some bees to be around.
Okay.
So maybe not holding them too close to the house, getting them on the outskirts of your deck.
Okay.
Maybe the bees might be able to
Okay.
get to them a little bit easier that way.
Okay. I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So all of those kind of things are going to work very well, and then getting them in the garden. Here we are talking about starting all these things, but you got to prep the garden before you put them in. So get all your seeding started, get everything put where they need to go, and then it's time to move outside and to prep the garden. Now, if you have manure available to you, you want to make sure that if you're just adding your manure now here in April, you want to make sure that it was last year's manure or at least over the winter.
Okay.
You don't want anything, you don't want to clean out your chicken coop today in April and put it right on your garden, because that manure is going to be hot and it will burn your root systems of your plants. So you don't want to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good to
You
know.
want to make sure that it's old manure from like last fall's cleaning out of the chicken coop.
That would be fine.
Right. Or you can always buy manure.
So what if you have your garden, you're finished for the fall season, you clean out the chicken house, and you can put the manure on the garden then?
You surely can.
And that would be
just
the
let
best
it
way
sit
to-
there
exactly.
all winter long.
Yes, exactly.
And then when you take the manure that you clean out of your chicken coop in the spring, have it in your compost pile.
Okay.
So it's going to sit there and decompose.
Right.
And you can stir it and keep it going for another area.
Right.
But yeah, when you do your cleaning out of your chicken coop or your barn stalls in the fall, you can put all of that directly on your garden, let it sit there all winter long. It gets into the soil, and then in the spring, you can till it in, work it all in. Or if you are a no-till, you can still do that. Just when you get ready to put your plants in, take your York fork, just wiggle it in, and then put it right down in and backfill. You just don't want to put any of that hot manure close to the stem.
So fresh is not to be used. It's got to be sitting for at least 3 to 6 months is what you would say.
Yeah, we like 6 months is really best. If you are someone that cleans out your chicken coop a lot,
Right.
you know, if you have only a few chickens, then there is so much, usually like wood shavings or something mixed in, that leaches it out some, and it won't seem as hot. So 3 months, 4 months, then you're probably okay. But, someone like me, I have 80 some birds in a chicken coop.
Right.
I only clean out about 3 times to 4 times a year.
That's a lot.
And that's a lot of poop.
That's a lot of manure. Correct.
That's a lot of manure.
Yeah, if we have time before we're finished, we'll talk about
The chickens. Yeah, sure, definitely.
Because, I'm going to get our chickens.
You're right,
Yeah.
exactly. So then you just want to make sure that manure is on the garden in a timely fashion, that it has plenty of time to leach into your beds, get those nutrients into the soil, and then you'll be ready to go ahead and start planting. And there's a lot of controversy on till and no-till. That's a total preference, really what works best for you. Some people say no-till, they don't have as many weeds. There's people that say tilling helps not have as many weeds. So it's really just a personal preference, whatever works best for you. You want to make gardening easy or you won't do it. And none of it's like so easy. It's easy to seed and plant.
Right.
It's not always easy to take care of it. So don't overdo it. If you are, I am going to plant a garden this year and we're going to make it a ½ acre. That is a terrible mistake.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
That's too much. Start little, build up your confidence and how much you're going to use, and if you want to be able to can or freeze or preserve somehow, and then the next year move to a little bit bigger garden.
It's really a good idea because
Yes, so that way you're not overwhelmed.
Right, because that's like this year with my husband passing, I'm going to do the raised beds because that'll be simple. I'm going to start out with 1 or 2.
Right.
Keep it simple because now with getting the chickens as well,
Right.
I've got a lot
Exactly.
going on. So
You surely do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if we have time, we can go ahead and talk a little bit about chickens.
Okay.
So you can order your chickens from a hatchery, or some people, if you only want a few chickens, you can go to your local farm store
yeah, the
and
Tractor
get them.
Supply,
Tractor
they carry
Supply, Rural King, Family Farm and Home. They carry peeps. They call it Chick Days, and they're running Chick Days right now.
Right.
And the thing is, you don't want to get chicks because it's a novelty and it's spring. You want to get chickens because you're committed.
Correct.
And you want them to help you be more self-sustaining. So that's very important to start off with.
And plus you're going to have sufficient eggs within, what, 8 weeks?
Oh, no.
How many weeks?
It'll be 5.5 months.
Oh, my.
Before you have.
We get them in March, April, May, June, not eggs until July.
Not eggs until August.
August.
Yeah, you won't have eggs because you won't get them in early March. You're not going to get them until the end of March.
Because I'm going to order them
so
from
then
Myers,
you're going to count April, May, June, July, August before you'll get an egg. So this is a commitment.
Yes.
And, you know, it's also not, oh, I'm going to throw them a little bit of chicken scratch and I'm going to have eggs.
No.
So you have to feed them a balanced diet. And sometimes, you know, people think that it's going to be like free eggs. It's not free eggs. You're not really doing this so you save a lot of money. Because good organic chicken feed is not cheap. But you know what you're eating. You know that egg. And you will see it the first time you crack one of your eggs.
The yolk will be so yellow.
So brilliant yellow.
Yeah.
It's like the center of these daffodils.
Right.
It's just this brilliant, bold yellow. And the taste.
It's amazing.
It's like they have a taste. It's not like, you know, sometimes people are like, well, eggs really don't have a taste. My eggs have a taste, you know. And but getting chickens it's great for children, but it's great for anyone. You know?
I know my grandson's all excited for the chickens because he wants to help with the chickens as well.
Right, but you have to be prepared. So when you order your chickens while you're waiting to get them, you need to make sure that you have a coop. And if you can't let them be free range, you have to have an adequate run area outside. You want them to have some nice space outdoors where they can peck at the ground, at all the stuff that God left there for them to eat. It is good for them to eat worms and bugs and all of those things. And some people are like, oh, I want them on a vegetarian diet. No, you don't. You don't want them on a vegetarian diet. You want them to eat what they would eat if they were out foraging. And they will do that.
And one thing I think we have to remember is I'm researching right now for my area on finding non-GMO chicken feed. So I am going to be checking with Hartville Elevator to see if they can get that for me as well.
Right.
So that's so important.
Right. I get mine through Star Mills in Louisville, and it's Kalmbach Feeds. They have, and they're not paying me to say this, but Kalmbach has a wonderful line of non-GMO verified feeds for pretty much everything. I get my cow feed, my hog feed, my goat feed, my chicken feed, and a lot of mills won't carry it. You can't just walk in, cash and carry.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to order it,
yes.
But they will order it in for you. And Jason at Star Mill has started ordering it for me. And then I go in, you know, I try to order 2 or 3 weeks of feed at a time.
Well, yes, of course.
And then I go in with a truck and pick it up, and it works well.
So fine, this is fine. We're getting started. I'm going to have chickens. I've had them before, second time around. So, what do we do for the winter time?
Okay.
To keep them.
So you're going to have that heat lamp left from when they were peeps, because you have to get a heat lamp to keep them warm as a peep while they have little fuzzies and no feathers, because the feathers is truly what keeps them warm. So you have to keep that light in them 24/7 so that they stay warm. About 105 degrees is really good for them. And then you can start backing it off as they start getting more feathers around that 3-week mark. But then you're going to still have that light. So in the wintertime, as winter comes on, I put the light in my coop. And I put the light on a thermostat plug. And they sell them at your, Tractor Supply store. So you plug it in. So that's why it's nice to have electric in your chicken coop.
So we don't. So we'll have to figure it out.
But you can do an outside extension cord. And then just bring that inside the door. And plug it in. And this little thermostat the heat lamp will kick on then anytime it goes below 35 degrees, I think, in your chicken coop.
Nice.
And it keeps them a little warmer. That way, this is for a couple reasons. For them, so that they're a little bit more comfortable, but also if they're not using all of their energy to stay warm, they still produce eggs.
Okay.
If they're using all of their energy and all of their calories to keep warm themselves, they don't produce eggs in the winter.
That would make sense, absolutely.
So, and then I don't do 24-hour lighting like commercial chicken growers, but I do have a light on a timer. And you know, in January, we have so few hours of light.
Yes.
So I have a light on a timer that comes on at 4:30 in the afternoon, and it stays on till about 8:30 at night, giving them that additional amount of light like they would be getting in the springtime.
So we're going to have to get organized.
So that
Yes.
way it helps you keep eggs going all winter long instead of just feeding them all winter and not getting any eggs.
So that's why they usually call it, what do they call it, molting or something
Well,
like that?
your chickens can still molt,
Okay,
but they usually don't molt until they're about a year old.
okay.
Sometimes 18 months. And then, but I don't have chickens molt that often. Like if I get attached to a chicken, which doesn't happen very often, and I don't, because I'm on a cycle, which every year I butcher chickens from 2 years before.
Okay.
But if one has somehow struck my heart and I let it
Yeah,
live,
you keep it as a pet.
I will see that those ones will molt.
Okay.
Even though they're eating a nice, organic, balanced diet, they still will molt. And then they won't lay during that time. But I always have enough younger girls to keep it going that we never run out of eggs.
So with the molt, how long of a period does that normally last? Could it be a month, 2 months, 3 months?
It will usually last 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. And but a lot of times when I see a bird molting, I'm like, "Oop, you didn't make it out in the last
Right, last group.
Yeah, group, and I should probably just,
okay.
make it a stewing hen."
Okay, nice.
Right. Because that's what your chickens, your laying hens really become, because they're not a meat bird. So when you process your laying hens after they're not producing for you an egg on a regular basis.
Right.
And they start at about that 5-month mark, and then for 2 years they should lay an egg a day. And at that 2-year mark, they're not, and usually it's not maybe every 24 hours, but within about every 26 to 27 hours, they should be laying an egg for you.
Okay.
And it's so hard to tell which ones are and which ones aren't.
Right.
That's why I'm just like, okay, in 2 years, all the barred rocks are 2 years old this year, they're going to the processor.
Right, exactly.
And then we make them into stewing birds because they're a great bird to make broth, or if you make your own stock. If you're going to cook a bird and then make vegetable soup or chicken noodle soup or chicken sandwiches.
Right, exactly.
But it's not a chicken that you are going to get
A lot of meat.
beautiful boneless, skinless chicken breast from.
Right,
because
right,
that's
right.
not how it happened. They're just not built. They're not raised that way.
Now, I'm going to order the Rhode Island Reds. That's what we had when I was growing up, and they're usually a hardy chicken.
They
as
are.
well. Yes.
They handle heat well in the summer. They handle the cold well in the winter. It's one of the ones that I have in my rotation.
Right, right.
And they lay a nice amount of eggs. I think they're predicted to lay 300 eggs a year.
Nice.
That's really
Very
good.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we have a lot of work to do. The neighbor and I are doing this as a project. So
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It'll be fun. We'll be learning along the way, and I'll be calling you
I
for
was going to
advice.
say, you can call me for advice.
Yes.
You want to have some type of a nice bedding for them. Sawdust is good.
What is it?
Sawdust.
Yeah, how about
that
straw?
will-
What do you prefer?
Well, the chickens doesn't seem to like the straw as well. They'll play with it and actually even nibble on it. It works okay. Cleaning is a little bit more difficult with the straw. It decomposes more slowly. So if you're putting it in your compost pile,
Okay.
sometimes that's not great. I know some people are using sand.
Okay.
And that's fine if you have only a few chickens, but if you have a lot of chickens, the sand, because they sift it sort of like they clean it out like you would a litter box.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of chickens, there's too much poop every day to be
Right,
sifting.
Right. Well, we're only getting 12.
Yeah.
And one rooster. So where do you get the sawdust? You get that like at Tractor Supply places
You
like
can.
that?
They sell wood shavings in little bales that they make. I am fortunate enough to have a friend that's a cabinet maker,
Okay.
and I get all of his sawdust.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Nice.
But yeah, you can buy it at Tractor Supply or Family Farm and Home or Rural King, any of those places. And they have them in a little bale that's nice and manageable.
Right.
And you can just sprinkle it down in there. And then I always like to put something in my roosting boxes where they lay.
Right.
And that's where I use straw the most.
I was going to say that's what we always had that
Right.
growing
I
up.
usually use straw in my nesting boxes. Right.
Yes, yeah.
And then some nice roosting poles for them to sleep on at night.
Okay.
Because they don't prefer to sleep standing on the ground. Some of them will if you have too many chickens for your coop.
Right.
But they prefer to roost on a bar. That's how
Nice.
they prefer. Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, because my neighbor Jeremy is building the chicken house. So I will tell him that about the roosting poles. to
Yeah,
have
the
those
roosting
as
poles.
well.
And they can be as simple as a 6-foot tomato stake. They don't have to be anything special.
Right.
But you can buy dowel rods that are, 1-inch dowel rods and
Right.
6 feet long. You can use
That's a good
those
idea.
too.
Yeah. So if having 12 hens, how many laying boxes would I have for them to lay eggs?
4 is plenty.
Okay, good. That's what I need to know.
Yep, 4
Okay.
is plenty. Right.
Good.
And then, like I had said about you said you're getting a rooster. You really like to hear the cock-a-doodle-doo in
Oh,
the
I
morning.
do. I love to hear it. Yeah.
Just make sure that if you have a rooster, especially if you're going to allow other people access to your chicken coop, that you play with your rooster a lot when you first get him. Sort of love on him. I'm like, hold him in your hand and pet him and talk to him. He'll learn your voice. And usually if you have time to do that, a rooster won't turn on you.
Okay.
Roosters can get very mean.
Yes.
And they don't really do it because they're like a vicious animal. They do it because they're protecting their girls.
Okay.
And they don't know why you're big and coming out sometimes. But if they know your voice and you've talked to them a lot, usually you don't have an issue with them. The only time you'll have an issue with a rooster that has been great is if you allow sometimes a child will think it's fun to chase them. And then that makes the rooster extremely frustrated. If that goes on for a period of time, I have seen roosters get mean even though they were so gentle. So I always tell children that come to the greenhouse, you don't chase the rooster and he won't chase you, because I have 3 roosters right now and they're all very nice.
Now, I do have a question. Whenever we're getting the baby hens in, the chicks, and the rooster will be there with them, will I be able to distinguish between the rooster and the hens when they're babies, when
So
I get
if
them?
you buy from a hatchery,
I will.
they will mark your male with a little blue dot.
Oh.
Then you'll have to mark him so that, because for a while, probably 2 months, you won't really know any difference.
So how do they mark him? Magic marker
They
on
do a
something?
magic marker on their fur,
Okay.
and their little fuzzy fur for a while. But
Okay.
you can buy a little band
I was going to say a band would be the best.
to put on his leg, and then that way but at about 2 months,
You'll know.
he starts to get a little bit more of a comb.
Right.
His stature is bigger,
Yeah.
and sometimes he'll even go over to the girls and shake himself around them so that they know that he's, the dominant
king.
one. He's
Yeah.
the king.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
But still, I have friends that, they don't have as many chickens as I have.
Right.
So they have a little bit more time to play with them. But they have roosters still, they can be like, hey, Charlie, and the rooster jumps up on their lap and lets them pet.
Really?
Yeah. So roosters can be very nice.
Well, it'll be interesting now because I do have a miniature Dachshund, and I know she'll get a little aggressive and she'll start barking probably.
Right.
But hopefully with time she'll get used
She'll
to
get
it.
used to them.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And where do you get the little metal bands to put around their leg?
Same, the Tractor Supplies
Tractor
place.
Supply,
Yeah,
okay.
they have them too.
That's really, I think you've covered a lot. to
And they
help.
have all the feeders that you're going to need. They have the plugs that you're going to need.
Okay, the
waters.
feeders, yeah.
Right, they have all
Yeah.
of those. Yeah.
And I'm sure you have something to keep their water from freezing in the wintertime.
They do. They have this little tray
Yes.
that's heated, and you put their water right on top of it, and it never freezes.
Right. Nice. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I
Yeah,
think
it works
that was
out very well.
I think more people are getting into
Oh, so many more.
are growing chickens now.
Yeah, we have found from our homesteading classes and workshops that we do, so many people are raising chickens now.
Yes.
We have several people that want to order with us when we order every spring. They order chickens with us now because there's just so many that want to, again, know what they're eating.
I'll remember that, but I'm going to call Myers Hatchery in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
I'll do that when I get home, place my order because they'll come by the end of March.
Yep, they'll come by the end of March.
And then we've got to get Plan B to get the heat lamp one.
To get everything going, yeah, get that ready. And at that time, it's too cold to keep them outside even with the
course.
heat lamp.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about this, you want to make sure that, like Janet had said, she might put them in the basement shower, somewhere where they're enclosed and you can keep them warm.
Now, whenever you have them like in the shower stall is what I was thinking, a big box, like a cardboard box, I could use that maybe, and then the heat lamp, but do I have any bedding in that box?
I usually use sawdust.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And then change it like a kitty litter whenever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly,
Good.
yeah.
Well, you'll be on redial.
Okay. You'll be texting me in the middle of the night. Huh?
Right, exactly. Hey, what do I do now?
Right.
The chicken doesn't act, whatever.
Right,
So
yeah.
It'll be fun.
It will be, yeah. You'll enjoy it.
I mean, between that and the garden and the business, we're going to be busy.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
anyway. Okay, we've got about 4 more minutes before we close
so
up. 3 up.
If you have your chickens, again, you can utilize that. But like I have pigs and cows and goats. All of those things, you can use their manure in your garden. Remember this, if you have alpacas and rabbits, their manure is not hot.
Oh.
And so you can use those manures, which I have alpacas, not rabbits, but you can use that manure directly on your garden at any time to prep, and you don't have to worry about it ever being hot. Also, a lot of people sell alpaca manure because of that not being hot, and it has no odor. The nice thing about it is, as an alpaca goes to the bathroom in the same spot always. So it's easy to harvest. It's not like a cow, you have to like chase them around the pasture,
Right.
Or cleaning out a stall, you have to wait till you can clean out the stall. An alpaca will go in a big pile in the middle of the pasture, and you can go and literally pick it up and dry it. We used to sell it for some people, but it's great, so you can use it at any time.
Nice.
And also, you can also use a tea. So if you are gardening in containers or raised beds,
Right.
and you don't want to use actual manure in those kind of things, you can make a tea with the alpaca, and then when you're watering, you're pouring the nutrients on. You can just put those little pellets in like a mesh sack, put them down in your bucket, and that water with it sitting there will pull all those nutrients out, and then we call it a manure tea, and then you use that in your raised bed or in your containers when you're watering, and then that will work in there to give those plants the nutrients. It doesn't smell, because sometimes you have these things close to your deck or your patio.
Exactly.
Right,
Yes,
you don't want
yes, yeah.
the odor. And you can use that in those situations, and it works out very, very well.
Very nice. So do you sell the little pellets to make that tea? Or where do you get that?
Actually, I don't sell them, but we have a very open farm. So if somebody comes and says, I'd really like to have some alpaca poop,
You give them
I'm like, here's a shovel. My animals are nice. Go on. You can see where their pile is, because like I said, they go in the same spot all the time. They can just go put it in their bucket, and they take it home, and off they go.
Nice.
We do the same thing with water, because so many people have city water.
Oh, yes.
And they cannot get it purified enough
Yes, that's true.
to water their plants with. So they come to the greenhouse and fill their jugs. We let them come and fill their jugs.
That's so nice. Very
and then
nice.
they can take them home and water their plants. House plants especially. People just struggle so much with that. And
Well,
so we
and
let
what's
them
so
do that.
nice too, if you have house plants, like when I do a show, I always have the samples of the chlorophyll water. If I have any left over, I take it home, put it on my hibiscus, and it'll bloom in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, because plants love
No,
the
well, of
chlorophyll
course,
water.
right.
Because it's very, it's green, it feeds them, and
right.
they bloom. And
Yeah.
You know, so
Exactly.
we
right.
have, okay,
So,
our time is up because we have 1 minute left.
okay.
So any questions, you know, to call Cindy or stop over at the
Right.
greenhouse.
I'm at Anthony Petitti Organic Greenhouse, 5828 Columbus Road in Louisville. And our phone number is 330-455-5997. We want you to be successful, so call and let us help you out.
Be well, enjoy spring, happy Easter, and let's remember to be thankful for our many blessings. Thank you so much
Exactly.
for coming, Cindy.
Thank
so good.
you.
All right.
Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. Be well.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.